Hey, good morning, everybody. Coffee Conversations with Greg J is on. Special edition. That's what we're doing. Usually we come up Tuesdays and Thursdays and inform and inspire the people. But today we making room, rolling out the red carpet. What a special day. We're just feeling so blessed, so grateful. In these times, we have legends among us. You know what it is. Let's just get to the headlines, man. I mean, I'm just really, really great. It is Monday, the 23rd of November. We want to keep track with these days in this COVID environment. Well, how are you doing? How are you doing? Everything good? It's crazy still. COVID environment got us, vexed, but day by day, step by step. And as we always say here, Coffee Conversations, please keep your head to the sky, keeping the light. We'll get through all this together. Wear your mask, do all that stuff. Over the weekend, I was out on my run on the beach, Long Beach, California, where we originate. And I was just so grateful, and I saw a bunch of Black people out there, and it was a basketball tournament. And I was just so happy to see the culture. We're all about culture around here. And I thought when I was there that everybody was sufficiently masked. And when I looked at the video, man, there weren't as many masks as I saw, when I was there. And when I looked at the video, it just seemed like almost everybody there didn't have a mask. But I don't even know what to think about it. I feel all right. Maybe I need to go get tested or something. But certainly, brothers and sisters, everybody, when you go out there, wear your mask. Social distance, please, please. This is serious business. They're talking already. We're seeing in the headlines about the vaccines that are coming. And hopefully, that's going to be all right. We probably should have our friends from the Charles Drew University of Medicine and Science back so we can understand, what are we getting ourselves into when these vaccines are ready. But enough of that. Drug maker AstraZeneca announced today that its vaccine candidate developed by Oxford University is up to 90% effective in preventing COVID-19, the third such candidate to meet the threshold. The company said in an interim analysis of British trials, though, found an average efficacy rate of 70%, seemingly less effective than two other vaccines from Moderna and the Pfizer BioNTech group. A group of Pennsylvania Republicans have filed an emergency lawsuit seeking to block certification of the election results in the Keystone State, which President-elect Joe Biden won by more than 80,000 votes. The emergency petition was filed in state court this weekend and comes ahead of Monday's deadline for Pennsylvania counties to certify their voting results, part of the process of formalizing President Trump's electoral defeat. I wish they hurry up and just get through all of this, right? And then meanwhile, California Black Media Network is reporting, they got a new curfew out there, stay-at-home orders, got to be off the streets by 10, no more ordering or eating in or outdoors at restaurants and bars. A lot going on. A lot of people are stressed over that. This went into effect over the weekend. And there's also some sort of travel restriction we're going to see where folks can't leave or come into the state. Coronavirus cases are spiking all over the country. Stay safe, y'all. Please stay safe. All right. Listen, we've been all weekend. We're counting record sales like they're counting votes, I see there's more record sales, more votes in the history of the presidential election and in the millions, 79 million, 80 million, some old craziness like that. And I'm trying to figure out how many millions have our guest right here? How many votes have we given our guest over time? Man, I have a 30 plus year of radio history. I have always loved the music. If you know me, I'm about the music. And if you know me really well, I'm about the music all across the globe. And it's such an honor, how God has just placed me in positions, right? I worked for the inimitable Stevie Wonder for 20 plus years. I've met so many different people. We got out of, we left Stevie Wonder's camp, started our own thing, and now visiting me to sip coffee. I mean, I don't even have the words. Inimitable, awesome, Grammy Award winning. They're just great. You know them. I love them. Let's see. Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, good morning. Welcome to Coffee Conversations with Greg J.
Good morning, Greg.
Morning, Greg.
Yes, sir. Oh, man, this is really, really great. First of all, before I forget, we have a mutual friend out there, Brother Gary Hines, and I told him that you guys were coming on today. They're like, oh, that's great. Tell the guys I said hello. So I wanted to extend, his greetings to you. That's a good friend of mine. Love it.
He's a great man.
All right. Yes. Okay. So Jam and Lewis, they're saying you guys are releasing your first solo album. Is that it? Your first as artist?
That is correct. Guilty as charged.
That's like, when I saw that, I was like, yeah. So how does it feel? Okay, so you have a generation, serious business. You have a generation of creating hits for others. And now you said, okay, we're going to finally put our stuff out. Tell me about it. How do you feel?
Well, it feels really fun. I mean, it feels really good. I mean, we're having a lot of fun with it. The journey of it actually started 35 years ago when we were working on a Jam and Lewis album after being fired or freed, as Terry Lewis likes to say, from the time. And so we started doing tracks for what we thought was going to be our album. And around that same time, we're working with Janet on the Control album. And when we were done with the Control album, or at least we thought we were done with the Control album, John McClain, who was the A&R person at A&M Records at the time, he came up. We played him, we played him the album with Control and Nasty and When I Think of You and Pleasure Principle and Funny How Time Flies and Let's Wait a While. We played him all these songs. We figured, we're good. And like all A&R people, he said, I just need one more. I said, one more? I said, no, we don't have anything. I said, let us play you some stuff from our album. So we started playing him songs from our album. About the third album song in, he goes, that's the one I need for Janet. And he says, play it for her, and if she likes it, give it to her. And I'm like, come on. So anyway, the next day she comes to the studio. We play it for her. We didn't even tell her we were going to play it. We just put it on. And then when it was over, she said, who's that for? And we said, well, for you if you want it. And she said, oh, I want it. And that song became What Have You Done For Me Lately? So it basically started her career and it ended ours, at least as artists. And the rest is history. We just kind of went on and produced records for people. And that's kind of the origin of where it started. Over the years, we've been trying to get back to it. But whenever we would work with an artist, they'd always take the song for themselves and keep it. And finally, a few years ago, when we were fortunate enough to get inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame, we finally said, okay, what is it that we haven't done yet? Oh, yeah, we never did our album. Let's get back on that. So that brings us to today.
Wow, incredible. Now, let me ask you now, such a legacy. I mean, how many number one hits do you all have? Or do you keep up with stuff like that?
I personally don't.
just do what you do, and there it is.
Yeah. I think Jam knows. He's usually the man that understands all the stats. I don't do that. So.
Yeah, I here's the thing about stats. I think when our sons were playing basketball together, I used to keep the stats, and I always used to tell the players because they'd always want to know how much they scored, and I'd always say stats don't lie; they just don't tell the whole truth. So stat-wise, for a team, we're the number one producers, songwriters ever. We actually have 16 Billboard number ones on the pop side, I guess you could say, and 26, I believe it is, on the R&B side. That's Billboard across all different genres. That's just R&B, but across a bunch of different genres. So we've done pretty well, and historically, I think we're ranked third all time for producers, behind like the Beatles producer and Elvis's producer or something like that. So part of it is that we've been able to have longevity. And if you stick around long enough, you get enough turns at bat, eventually you're going to hit a few home runs and probably a few strikeouts in there, but I don't want to remember those.
That's right. That's right. Someone's asking, that's James Music Man Fields. He's got a podcast coming out of Las Vegas there, a good friend of mine. He wants to know when you all will release a box set of all the 12-inch versions that you've produced.
Wow, that's a good question.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, it is. Never thought of it.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. Boom.
Yeah. It's across a whole lot of different companies. So it would be quite an undertaking, but I guess it's possible for sure.
Possible, right? Okay. Yeah. So, Von Parchman, my good friend, he's got his daughter, Tia P, is a great artist and called me early this morning to meet you guys and everything there. He's saying that new record with Babyface is a classic, and it really is. It's talk about this song now. For me, my first two reactions, just gut reactions. First was, okay, you know what, this is going back to that. There's a certain, style, a certain je ne sais quoi of R&B, that you don't always hear anymore. But with you guys and Babyface, we're recapturing that feeling, that rhythm, that swing of a love song in R&B. So that was my first gut. My second gut was, okay, super producers producing a super producer. How does that work in the studio?
Faith said that was the toughest thing for him, was to kind of relinquish control or opinion. Not opinion, because he still obviously would say what he wanted to do, but we wanted him to just be an artist, just sing, just, play guitar, just do what you do. And he said that was the toughest thing, because when he was in the middle of singing, he would stop himself and go, oh, wait, let's get that again. Or wait. And we'd be like, no, man, just sing. We got you. We got you. So it was nice, because when he actually heard the finished version of what we were doing, he just kept saying over and over, he just said, that sounds really good.
Yeah.
That sounds really good. And we're like, yeah, because you know what? You're Babyface. Right. So of course it's going to sound good. And I think your initial reaction to the way that it made you feel is the thing that we were going for. And really, with all the artists that we're working with on our album, is that you should remember the reason you fell in love with Babyface for the first time. And it should give you that feeling of, we call it nostalgia, where it's something new, which is exciting. It's always fun to hear something new, but it also takes you back to a familiar, comfortable place. And if we can find that sweet spot, that's what we're going for with all the music on our record. So I'm happy to hear you say that was the feeling that it gave you, because that's the feeling we were going for.
Yeah, it's incredibly dope. Now, what are some of the other songs that you have and some of the other people there? What are we looking for on your LP?
Well, we worked with a lot of friends. So we're not really disclosing who's actually on the album, because we don't know yet. I mean, the album's not going to be until spring of next year. So it's still a work in progress.
I see.
But you shouldn't be surprised if you see friends of ours, like if just off the top of our head, if we said somebody like Janet Jackson, or we said someone like who we worked with before successfully, or we said somebody like Mariah Carey, who we worked with before successfully, or someone who we've never worked with, who we would love to have worked with, but finally maybe have done it, like Toni Braxton, or somebody from it could be people along those lines. It could be people that we've had #1 records with, like Usher. So you get my drift. I mean, it's basically people that we love to work with, or haven't had the chance to work with in the past, that we get a chance to now.
That boy is good. Good. He said a lot without saying nothing, right?
Yeah. Good stuff. Okay, so now I'd like to kind of talk about a little bit with your legacy and with your wisdom, what's your assessment of where we are musically? Especially on the R&B side, the black music side. It's a lot of debate out there on what is R&B, and we talk about the love song, right? So you have Jam and Lewis with Babyface, and excuse me, and then just really expressing their love for somebody, and then you have people out there that's just talking about I want to hit it.
That's kind of the culture, though, isn't it?
It is.
The culture kind of dictates that. I mean, I wish we could. Our assessment of all that kind of thing would be, for our generation, what comes from the heart reaches the heart. Mm-hmm. And our heart never felt that way. We never thought of love as a crude or lewd thing. It was always in a good place for us. But, I feel like the kids feel the same way. I mean, that's how they express it. It's a little edgier, it's a little harder, it's a little tougher. But once again, you grow out of all those things, I think. So I think R&B in general will be in a great space going forward, and always will, because we always have the classics to lean to. We don't have to, if there were no classics, then maybe I'd worry. But they always go back to the classics at some point.
Mm-hmm. Now, now with technology and everything, you see great opportunity for the indie soul artists. A lot of great music out there with the indie soul over there on beachcityradio.com. As we create new broadcast paradigms with the online radio station, we really, really embrace that indie soul artist. And what's your thoughts about that genre? Is actually developing in sort of a subgenre of urban music, if you will. What are your thoughts about the indie soul artist out there?
Well, I think right now, the thing that technology allows us to do, as it's allowing us to do today, which is basically be face to face as we converse without being in the same studio with each other. It allows people to create a whole lot of different music and do it on their own and do it independently. We wouldn't be thought of as independent artists necessarily, but we've actually had a couple of very successful records that we did kind of out of the mainstream system. We did Peebo Bryson a couple of years ago and had a top 5 record with him. We had a #1 record just recently earlier in the year with Stokely from Mint Condition, which we did totally independently outside of the record company system, so to speak. So I think that the idea is if you're making music, there's a lot of different ways to get it out there and to get it to people and get it directly to the people, whether it's through Facebook, whether it's through social media, YouTube. There's all kinds of ways to get your music out there and create music. So, and there's also now, because of the times we're living in, you can basically make your music on a laptop, and you can make music at home. And I'm also encouraged, I just have to mention too, when we talk about the way that music crosses the generations and the new music, the new soul music, the new R&B music, there's an artist, Her, who we absolutely love. Her current record, she just performed it on Saturday Night Live last week, basically is a, not necessarily a sample, but basically an interpolation, if you will, of a song we had with Herb Alpert back in the day, Making Love in the Rain. And her new song is called Damage. And it's exposing, the old song to everybody, because everybody's going back and going, wait, Making Love in the Rain. Yeah, I remember that. And so those kinds of connections to me that music make is what's really a good thing. And when you have an artist like Her, who not only is a great vocalist, but also writes her songs, plays guitar, plays bass, plays keyboards. To me, the future of R&B is in great hands with artists like Her. Mm. And Her basically, although she's in a major company system now, she started off very much independently and just kind of making music on her own and making the music that she wanted to make. So I think the spirit of that is amazing, and I'm glad to hear that that's happening and that you're giving exposure and love to that, because people are going to create music. and it just needs to find a home. So that's
Yeah. And over the years, it's been kind of a crazy thing, but to do traditional quote unquote R&B and find a major home for it, it's been difficult.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we took when you look at the system, and I never like to complain about it, but I like to state the case. When you look at the system, you see no Black executives, or very few.
Mm-hmm.
You see, you have Sylvia Rohn, you have L.A. Reid still doing it, and very few people on the upper echelon who get to make decisions of what Black music is. To them, people of color should be in those places that govern our people, because what we put out actually affects our communities. And, you know, that's just my personal feeling. And so I like to always state the obvious.
No, it's a true fact. And, you know, we really do need to, you know, we have a mantra around here at the Hannibal Media Group Dream Creator Studio is, you know, tell our own stories, tell our own story. We're constantly saying that in not only in what we're doing in the audio space with our online radio, but our video, our live streams, all that. The underlying mantra of everything we do is tell our own stories. And you're absolutely right. These are companies who have control over our content, over our, like I said, it creates what happens in our community. Art imitates life.
Right. Well, you know, they don't have control. That's the great part. That's why independent records are so important. But they do have the ability to skew young minds to do things that they ordinarily wouldn't do, because it doesn't necessarily feel natural. And once it becomes successful in any kind of way, it's kind of the follow the leader kind of situation. So no, we have the control. We just have to take the control.
Gotta take it.
Yes,
that's what's up. I love it. Okay, so let's expand our lens to, you know, Africa. One of the keynotes of our musical presentation is embracing the contemporary music of Africa. Now with technology, one of the popular genres is Afro beats, not to be confused with Afrobeat from the 70s, but certainly there's some dope music coming from all 55 countries on the continent. Do you guys ever think about working with great artists over on the continent? And have you ever thought about it?
Oh, I would love to. I would love to. We always try to fuse music anyway. If you listen to any of our music, we back away from nothing in terms of musically. We're fearless in that respect. And that's what makes it fun, man. The gumbo is good.
You know, it's interesting because we do have a lot of African listeners because we have our, you know, we do so much African music. And I know that by you saying that, I'm gonna get a lot of emails from artists and all of that. But there are some artists that just immediately come to mind. I would love to see Jam and Lewis work with, you know, out of South Africa. Zonky is one. I think, you know, she's very R&B, very soulful. And I mean, for me, if I was the A&R type, I'm more of a marketer than anything else. But if I was the A&R type, I'd put you guys together with Zonky. And there's a few other folks out there, but Zonky probably would be a really good one for y'all.
You got to give us a list.
Yep.
Yeah. I shall. Yes. All right. Now, okay. I'd like to talk about, since we did talk about Gary Hines, you know, reaching out, Sounds of Blackness. Tell us the story of how you guys are connected there in Minneapolis.
Well, we go back with Sounds of Blackness pretty much to their inception. A lot of times when we were in local bands playing around the Minneapolis area, we a lot of times would even be on the same shows. Like they put shows together and Sounds of Blackness would perform, and Terry's band Flight Time would perform, and I had a band called Mind and Matter. We're talking way back in the day.
Sure.
And so we would always kind of cross paths like that. And around right at the end of the 80s, Terry and I started a record company called Perspective Records. Right, I should say 1990, we actually started a company.
With Ruben Rodriguez and them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, yes. You guys, do you remember the little phone card that you did for, who was that for? Was that Adina Howard? God, I can't remember.
No,
Anyway,
not a demon, but so anyway, when we were starting the company, we were signing acts, and we were actually, Janet was in town, and we took her to a Sounds of Blackness show that we were just going to. We just wanted to see it. And the whole time we were sitting there watching the show, she's like nudging us and going, "Oh my God, they're amazing. You should sign them. Oh, you should sign them to the label. Oh, they're amazing." And we were kind of watching them going, "Yeah, of course they're amazing. We know that. We've watched them our whole lives." And it was kind of funny, but she seeing it through her eyes, and her reaction to it, and the fact that they were not just gospel music, but really exploring all the African-American forms of music and jazz and rock and blues and all of that. It really made her excited. So we signed them. And not only did we sign them, they ended up in 1991. They were our first release on Perspective Records. And Optimistic, of course, was the first single released from that. And Optimistic is, I always say we both feel the same way. It's our favorite song that we've ever done, ever. And the reason was because of the way it touches people. And there's something that's really divine about music. We always have felt that way. And that song, if we just could have one song, and somebody put it to me like, if you put it in a time capsule and an alien came down to see what music was like, what would be the song that would represent you guys? And we said Optimistic would be the song. So I don't know. I mean, that song has had a life of its own. It was interesting just with, I remember 4 years ago when the election happened, and I remember that was a song that people were playing because they weren't in a good space. A lot of people weren't. And that was the song they were playing. And then this year's election, where I think a lot of people felt a lot better, that again was the song they were playing. So whether it's a song to get you out of a bad mood, to celebrate you in a good mood, and everything in between, that song kind of typifies that. And I always say, last thing I'll say on Optimistic is that I always say that it's not a song we wrote. I think it's a song that God wrote and just allowed us to deliver it. I think all music is like that, but that song in particular is like that.
And so God put some extra sauce on that one.
Yeah, good. Yeah, well, it was a song conceived at a time when we were actually working on the Sounds of Blackness. It was a anti-big group time. Nobody wanted to have a big group. We had a band of 40 people, and it was against all rules and regulations. But we went against the grain because we wanted to deliver not necessarily what the people wanted, but what we felt the people needed. So we kind of forewent any of the particulars that everybody was talking about. Oh, it's 40 people. How are you going to travel 40 people? Hey, we got to get a hit first before we travel 40 people. Right. We have to make a great song. That's what's important. So it went against the grain on every level. And our record company did years. So we were always kind of renegades that way. We just did what we felt our people need.
That's incredible. You talk about humble beginnings in the local music scene there in Minneapolis. Reminded me a lot of my humble beginnings in San Diego, California, where I'm from. And, I remember those bands all around the music scene. And my favorite band was Power. And I'm going to tell you, the bass player to Power, him, Nathan East. Yeah. So we're all from that same cloth. I was the guy that did the sound, back in those days. I wanted to be an engineer, and went away to the Marine Corps to learn electronics, and came back. And if you saw the local music scene with the Black Acts, I was the sound guy, down in San Diego. But it's interesting. Now, I just learned in just trying to prepare my mind for today. So, Jimmy Jam, your dad is Cornbread Harris?
Yes.
I listen to a lot of public radio. I'm very familiar. And I was like, what? Wow. Talk about your influences as a young lad coming up, because that's really the question I wanted to ask you. And I'm expecting to hear, we came from the church. And there's a point I wanted to make about that. But talk about your beginnings and your influences as a child.
Well, in my household, it was just a super musical household. I got a drum set when I just used to beat on things around the house all the time, I guess, when I was young. And I got a drum set when I was like 3 years old.
Wow.
And my dad, keyboard player, there was organs, pianos, all kinds of stuff around the house, always kind of keyboard instruments. I never really thought of myself as a keyboard player, though. And what happened when I think I was 12 years old, my dad's group didn't have, the drummer never showed up. They had always unreliable drummers. And the guitar player in the group, this guy named Coffee, he just said, why don't you just hire your son? He knows all our songs. He knows the whole set, you know? So anyway, one day, I sat in on one of the sets, and we were playing in a club and people loved it. And so the next week, he didn't show up again. The drummer didn't show up again. And I ended up playing the whole night. And when it was done, I remember he said, oh, great. And he gave me, I don't know, $20 or he gave me something. And I remember my mom saying, no. You can't pay him like that. You have to pay him like you paid like a real drummer, which, you know, I don't know what the amount was at the time, $500 or whatever it was. And that was so my mom was my first agent and got me my first gig. And literally probably 6 months after that, maybe a year after drumming with my dad, is when I met Terry Lewis. And Terry was the one that he was putting a band together, and he said, I need a keyboard player. And I said, oh, I play the drums. He said, no, you can play keyboard. Your dad played keyboard. I know you can play keyboard. I said, oh, okay, that's logic. Okay, fine. And so Terry was the one that turned me into a keyboard player. But that was kind of my early days upbringing.
Hey, I'm going to take this opportunity to ask you all a favor, because I played piano from the time I was 4 until I went away to the service, and then I just got away from it. But I always, you know, all the festivals I produce, all the stages across LA that I've been, you know, the centerpiece for developing, I can hear what the band needs. I can hear the keyboard parts. I recently acquired a piano. It's a Kimball Artist Console. It's, you know, kind you'd have in grandma's house or whatever. Yeah. But I'm teaching myself piano again at my age. Send me some chord progressions.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm getting into it. I would love to have some private label, give it to me by Jam and Lewis chord progressions that I can focus on.
Do you read music?
I'm getting there. I'm getting back. I did. And, you know, when my mom passed, right? And I had to move into their home in San Diego to, you know, I mean, 50 years of marriage, you know, had to dissolve. And I found a box like in the back of a closet. My mother kept all my sheet music, all my composition, my notations, all of that. It was just really, really amazing. But I'm getting back to it. I could see it. Yes. Yeah.
Like riding a bike, I guess.
Yes,
yeah.
Sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
I never really learned that too much. I had jazz class in high school, and had a great teacher, but he was mean, man. So it kind of turned me off about the reading part of it. He used to smack my hands every time I made a mistake with a little ruler. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I had that a little bit too, but we had, you know, I had a Tchaikovsky medal. You know, had to do the recital, had to do the Mozart and all that there. But I always wanted to learn, you know, our side of music. I could not, for the life of me, play like dude played in church. You know, and so this is what I wanted to. This is what I really want to do. You know, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Sandra Nicholson's checking in with us. She's asking if Jimmy and Terry will ever start a mentoring program for young musicians and singers. You know, music in the schools. Hey, this is a good one. Will y'all start a mentor program? They say, I already got one.
Yeah, we already do that.
Yep.
You know, in various ways and on various levels. You know, we try to impart knowledge anytime we can to anyone who wants it. But the thing that you find, Greg, is that you end up wanting things for people more than they want it for themselves. And so you end up putting stuff into a person, and giving them opportunity, and they don't kind of respond the way you would think. Like when someone gave us an opportunity, you could make us leave. Like we would stay in the studio. We get what they call a 24-hour lockout, and we would be there 24 hours, only taking naps. Just we run engineers into the ground. They'd hate to work with us in the early days because we didn't know how to stop. We wanted it so bad, and so now a lot of times you give people opportunity and they don't respond the same way. They kind of half come when they feel like it, sort of. You know, I even had a kid that came to visit who said he wanted to be a producer, and he came to work with me like 2 days. I set him up, gave him a room, gave him all the tools. And then about the third day in, he said he wasn't going to work with me. I said, what? You know, I'm tired. I was like, okay, you know, told my wife, send him home. No, you're not cut out for this. You want the glamour, but you don't want the work. So it's just a different thing. So you want to help as many people as you can. You want to give up the knowledge as much as you can. And hopefully you find people. We found a few that are great.
We had actually, you know, it's funny because the person I always think of is always X-Man in Minneapolis. We had a guy, we hired him basically just to do food runs for us, right? And you know, get pizzas, get, you know, whatever. And one day I remember I was in the studio and I needed to bounce some tracks or do something on the recorder that I didn't know how to do because we were kind of self-taught in the engineering side of things. We kind of taught ourselves how to do it. And I was frustrated. I said, man, I don't know how to do this. He said, oh, I think I know how to do it. And he set it up and did it. And then the next day there was a keyboard or something that I couldn't figure out how to get a certain sound. And he said, oh, I think I know how to do it. And he went in and did it. And I said, hey, man, how do you know how to do this? And it was funny because every night I'd watch him and there was a TV where his desk was, but the TV was never on. And so I never could figure out, why isn't he just watching TV? So what he said was, he said, I read all the manuals for every piece of equipment in the studio. And I said, what are you talking about? And like literally behind his desk, he had a manual for every piece of equipment. He had learned just by reading how to work it. So he could work the tape machines, he could work program the keyboards, he could do everything. And that to me, but the interesting thing about it was, I knew he was going to be good at whatever it was he did, because when you get food for people, particularly in a studio, and you forget the napkins or you forget the forks or you forget the condiments or whatever, it's a detail thing. So you're not really paying attention if you do that. And to be in the studio and do what we do, it has to be very detail oriented. So that's the thing we always noticed about people that really wanted to do something. There were certain characteristics that they showed that were really important to us. And to the question, overall, Terry and I were involved. We had a program called Lyric Literacy, which was started because of the idea of you take music out of schools. Music is a foundational thing. And if you think about our language, nobody sets the alphabet in front of you and goes, okay, learn this in order, A, B, C. You'd never do it. As soon as you put a melody to it and you go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, now you remember everything. So why would the foundation of learning the alphabet, which is our language, which is based in music, all of a sudden you get in school and you take all the music away? But yet you hear kids that can sing every rap lyric, every lyric on every song, because there's music attached to it. So why wouldn't we use that to learn? So that's one of the things we've been involved with. And also we've been involved for many years with the Grammys. The Grammys, everybody thinks of it as a one night a year show, but it's a 365 day organization. And one of the things they do is, and we were involved with, is Grammy in Schools, where we would do exactly that, is mentor kids and make sure that we could give them direction on that. It's not always about playing the music. Sometimes it's the infrastructure of the people of the music industry, so to speak. So let's say you love music, but you also love, maybe you want to be a lawyer. Okay, well then be a music lawyer, or maybe you want to be the person that, as Terry talked about earlier, runs the record company. Like, who's the people that are running the record companies now? The people that write, back in the day, the liner notes, but nowadays it would be the person who does the the music journalism stuff, which is now done online, but it's still relevant. So there's a lot of different paths in the music business that we like to try to point people to. And even if you don't play an instrument, but you just love music, then take whatever it is that you're good at and put it into something that's music related. And now you have the best of both worlds.
That's really true, because we were just having a conversation. I believe that was when we had Skip Dillard and Max Myrick and another radio professional out of Johannesburg, South Africa. We were talking about everybody wants to be on the mic, and so there's all these different jobs, around it. You can be in the industry, but understand that there's all these different jobs. And then to your point too, Terry, sometimes with the young people these days, I mean, we want to just on with our future, and it is hard sometimes. Some kids are coming and they don't they don't make it. They're not ready for the work that is required. One of the key foundations to success. It's interesting. There's a story that I like to tell in this category about a Burger King in South Los Angeles that was Black-owned Burger King, across the street from a very large church. And so, the people at church were trying to figure out why there weren't enough, Black employees at this Burger King. After all, after the church, we go over here, we're flooding this place, and we don't see anybody that looks like us, behind the counter. So a community meeting was made with the owner, and the owner said, "I'm gonna be real with you." Said, my people want to come in here, they want to be the manager. Instead of starting off on fries, they want to be the manager. And it's really, really hard for us to teach our children, that there are steps and work that is required for ultimate success.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, everything is pretty much instant these days. Mm-hmm. You buy a drum machine, you're instantly a producer in your mind.
Right.
Just because you have a guitar doesn't make you a guitar player. Mm-hmm. It makes you a guitar owner. You have to actually work at learning how to play the guitar. So, it's just a different mindset. And one thing that we've always adhered to, and that's the way it was in our generation, was your attitude dictates your altitude. Mm-hmm. Only go as far as your attitude allows you to go. Mm-hmm. It's like the anchor in your life. You got to make it light.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So many people coming in. There's Rhonda Love, our super producer. She's saying that you wrote the playlist to my life. Your music inspired so much of my life. It's such an honor to be able to say thank you. And there's a few other folks around in our stream that are just thanking you for everything that you have contributed to our culture. It's really awesome, brothers. Do you guys really let me just say it like this. Do you guys really understand what you mean to us in the hood?
Well, I don't know if we know what we mean, but we love what we do, and we love our people. Mm-hmm. I always tell people, I don't hate anyone. I'm absolutely for Black people. So, I'm not against anyone, but I got to take care of my people first. So.
We're in such a time of, I'm calling it a cultural revolution right now. There's a new awakening among us as a people. And, I think the ignition point was there in your home city. What were your feelings when you saw, the murder of George Floyd and then the subsequent unrest that happened? And then it just ignited all across the country and maybe even across the world, certainly got everybody's attention out there. What were your feelings when you saw these things unfold before your very eyes?
Well, for me, Greg, I was appalled, but not surprised. That's pretty much traditional relationship with the Black community and policing. And a lot of places. I mean, in Minneapolis, I don't know how many times I've been stopped and, ridiculed driving while Black, or even walking through the city center. And we just had come from the governor's office. We received a key to the city and, proclamation. It was Jam and Lewis Day and the whole thing. And so we went to get some food, and we stopped to sign an autograph in the city center in Minneapolis. And we were accosted by security and police. And it's like, Wow.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, if you can't, if
get
on
it.
your day, if
Yeah,
on Jimmy
right.
Jam and Terry Lewis Day, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis are getting, hassled by police and by security, then you know what it is.
Yeah.
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 So, I was very proud of how people responded. I'm never one to see people get off of the true path of what trying to make change is, and by looting or whatever. Never cool for that, because that changes the narrative. But once again, the little burning, looting, or whatever they did has very little significance when you think of all the things that happened with Wall Street and all the theft that has gone on in high places. Just the fallout's not the same, but nobody ever says anything about that. So, but the death of George Floyd was heinous. And that man cannot get away with that, because he did that intentionally. That was an intentional thing.
Yeah.
That was no accident.
That's what I saw.
Yeah.
Are you gonna believe your lying eyes or him?
Right.
Right.
Hey, we've been down this road before with Rodney King. I know what I saw, but they sure did get off scot free. Man.
Yeah.
It's really, really something. Now, okay, so let me ask you this: as superstar musicians, influential, what can today's generation, the current generation, I hope I'm saying that right, the current generation, because I'm a child of the civil rights movement, and I know that along the lines of, as we were protesting, advocating, and all that, we had a soundtrack. You had all the artists. Curtis Mayfield always comes to mind to me, because those, James Brown. Who is that person in your mind in these days and time? Who is that artist?
Yeah, I don't know that one.
I don't either.
Yeah.
It may not be one person.
Yeah.
It may be a collection of a lot of people with a lot of different ideas that may be melded into a narrative. But no, there isn't that one person, because those people that you named are singularly great, the most impactful people. I think if Prince was alive, the music he would be making right now, I remember he made a song called Baltimore about some incidents in Baltimore. He was very much on top of it. So he was like, you talk about Curtis Mayfield, James Brown, Marvin Gaye with the What's Going On album.
Stevie.
Stevie.
Yeah. So those are commentators that are looking at life and then commentating on it and putting it into song. I think Prince, for this generation, probably would have been that person to do that. And it's one of the ways that, we miss, what it is that he did, because I think he would be one of the people that are doing it. But I think there's people that are trying to do it. And I'm encouraged by that. I'm encouraged by the number of songs that I'm hearing where people are trying to comment on it. It's interesting sometimes that the thing that for me, and what's going on for me, is always the benchmark. If you think about that album, it's almost a lullaby in the sense of the way it's composed and the sonics of the album. It's very soothing, it's very calming, but then the lyrics are very biting and very real. And so to me, your soul accepts that album, and it gets across. Like somebody said, they said sugar in medicine or something. It's like, we're giving you, something that you need, but we're going to dress it up so that you can take it better, you can accept it better. And that's, to me, what Marvin Gaye did. And I think a lot of the even things like James Brown, like Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud, like the message of that was so needed, but the beat was so funky. Like, even if you didn't agree with it or weren't with it, as soon as he came on, it was like, oh man. So I think musically we have to remember, as we create songs like that and aspire to do that, still's got to be a song that you enjoy, that you want to hear. And a lot of the songs that I've heard recently, I like the attempt at what's being done, but the songs to me take me back to the place I don't necessarily want to be in. I want to hear about it. I just don't want to be, that's not the place I want to be. I want to be uplifted. I want to be, when you talk about, once again, we talked about optimistic. There's another song we were involved with, Open My Heart, with Yolanda Adams, where, you listen to that song and it's a very deep song, but if you listen to it and just let the song happen to you and it just kind of goes through you, that's the kind of music that we've tried to do with Sounds of Blackness and with groups like that. And we will continue to do. I mean, we will have a commentary on it. It may not be apparent at every turn, but it's always, as life goes on, it's always, we write about life. We write about the life that we're living and try to heal people, try to use the music to heal people.
Yeah. Open My Heart. That's one of my, that's a sound, that's in my DNA right there. When I'm out on my run, I mean, that's in my playlist for sure. Yeah. Good stuff.
Well, the great things about the music that address those things historically, I mean, they offered some type of introspection. They would have you introspective. They would make you think about how you would offer solutions to those things. They just don't commentary the things because, that those are happenstance. How do you react to them is the really important part of the process. So just getting people to understand that you have a part of the process that you can maturely handle and change. You can make change, even if it just starts with you. That's where it all starts. And
that's where it all starts.
World peace starts in your house.
Yeah.
It starts in your attitude. Once again, attitude plays an important part about it. So, I think the music of Curtis Mayfield reflected those things. A lot of the things, the makings of you and that kind of stuff. That stuff, that's some of my favorite stuff ever. That's real soul music.
All right, so you said Open My Heart a minute ago, and I'm just kind of thinking. So when you all go out on tour, if we ever get back to that, or when me and y'all do this live stream concert together. So like I watched Babyface go a couple of times at jazz festivals out here in California, and he sings his songs, and then he has a part in his show where he's like, okay, these are the songs that I wrote. That's a whole concert in and of itself, right? And so you guys are going to be the same thing. So you're going to have an hour of Jam and Lewis originals, your solo album, and then, man, another 2.5, 3 hours of songs that you guys have been involved in, because I forgot you were involved with Open My Heart. That's really, really something. Now, just circling back to the Grammys, you mentioned the Grammys. Let me tell you, Jimmy, I follow the Grammys very, very closely, and I really felt that you would be the president of the Grammy Awards when Mr. Portnoy stepped down. I actually, when you guys came to KJLH, where I was working at the time with Peebo Bryson, I mentioned it to you in the hallways, and you looked at me like you wanted to slap me, but you were like, nah. But what is the future of the Grammy Awards now? I mean, they've had quite a bit of scrutiny here lately. Pandemic notwithstanding, but just how categories are voted on and all of that whole thing. What is your assessment is the future with new leadership now and a couple of I guess renovations internally? What's the future of the Recording Academy? Well,
I think the future of the Recording Academy is really bright. I think that, as I said earlier, I know people think of it just as an award show. And so it's really easy to criticize, that you don't like an award, or they should have been nominated, or they should have been nominated in that. And that's a great debate to have. There's nothing wrong with that. That's going to continue. But to me, it's more about, I was fortunate enough to be the first African-American chairman of the Recording Academy. And one of the things in my tenure, which was probably 13 we're talking 13, 14 years ago now, I think, diversity and inclusion was kind of my mandate. And so it's interesting that now, sometime later, we're still in that same place. But what I see that I enjoy is that the person that is in charge right now, Harvey Mason Jr., Harvey Mason Sr. actually was one of the people that mentored me when I first got on the board of the Grammys. And now his son is the one that is our acting president and CEO. That's a job I'd never necessarily wanted, because, as I said, my wife said it best. She said he doesn't want to work that hard. So, but I do like the organization because of what we do year round, and I think the awards are just one part of it. So being involved in the Grammy Museum, which I think is important, so that there's a place for people to see the legacy of music and the excellence of music across all genres.
One of my favorite places. One of my favorite places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, and so now with something like the Grammy Museum, for instance, because we can't use the physical space right now, it's upped the ante on our online presence and the things that we're doing. So a lot of the things we would do, and somebody had talked earlier about things for kids and to get them involved in music. We used to, when we were open, we would have, generally 300-400 student groups come through there every day to come to the museum and learn, and we do seminars and do different things for them. So we're going to continue to do those kinds of things online. And the awards and the nominations, which I know people are really, into, that's a constantly evolving thing. The categories change from year to year. We expand, we subtract, but we try to get it right. And we try to be forward thinking about kind of anticipating where music is going to go and making sure that there's a home for it there. But as we just learned in this last election for president, if you turn out and vote, you will get a result that you would want to see. And because we're a membership organization, it's really incumbent upon the people that are in process to actually vote. Because, I say it all the time when somebody says, how come so-and-so didn't win? And I say, did you vote? No, I ain't got time for that. It's like, okay, that's why they won, because there are people that do have time to vote, and they did. And that's why something won that maybe you don't feel should have won. So it's important that you vote. And, going back to the very beginning, Terry and I, when we were first nominated for Producer of the Year, this was 86, I want to say. I remember somebody told us, they said, if you join, you can vote for yourself. And we said, really? Okay, cool. So we joined and we voted for ourselves and we won. So I was in from that point on. I was like, okay, this is good. And so to me, that's the important thing. But we're only as good as our members. So it's really about making sure that our membership reflects the music that's being made. And if we can do that, then I think we're in good shape. And that's the thing that we're striving to do right now.
Yeah, here we go again. This is something that we talk about often in not only on Coffee Conversations with Greg J, but all of our different, as we embrace culture, as we inspire and inform our people, participation. Mm-hmm. We're quick to doggone it, get out there, protest, and wonder why, want to challenge the people, want to get loud. But then when you say, hey, well, did you vote? Or did you prepare? Or did you, oftentimes, it's no, and we're just kind of bystanders, what do you call Monday morning quarterbacking. Yep. With situations. And you're absolutely right. So I guess the message to especially our young musicians, be a member, get a membership so that you can vote. Voting matters.
And get involved.
Yes, get involved. Really, really something. All right, guys. Well, look, we're all at the end of our time, but I got to tell you something. I know that Terry, you got a birthday coming. What? Tomorrow?
Oh, yeah.
Happy birthday to you. Yeah. Happy birthday to you. Good stuff. Good stuff, man.
Hey, man, every day's my birthday now, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you all for just coming through. Somebody asked, are you still mixing and mastering songs from Prince's catalog?
Actually, we never did.
Never did?
Yeah, we're not a part of that. We'd love to be, but to this point, no.
I will share as we get out of here is, one of my favorite Prince memories is, you mentioned definitely about his people, right? And he did y'all remember the 21-day residency he had over at the Forum?
Mhm.
and it was a big deal, you know. And he called the radio station, and he wanted us to. He wanted to grant us and nobody else in the whole city the exclusive right to broadcast, you know, half of his concert. And I was just honored to be the guy that put it all together. And yeah, Prince, good brother, you know, always looking out for his people and everything like that. And really sad that he's gone. But, you know, again, thanks for the memories. Thanks for the music. All right, so brothers, what's next? We're gonna get this album out, and it said it's in spring. How will we be able to get it online and everything? You'll make sure you let us know at Coffee Conversations when it's out.
Absolutely, we'll let you know, and it'll be available in every format that you can possibly imagine. Obviously, streaming, because that's the way a lot of people are getting their music now. So you will be able to stream it on, you know, whether it's Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, whatever your choice is for that will be available. But we're also going to make sure that we do physical product for those that want it, CDs, vinyl. Might even throw a cassette in there or something. I don't know about 8-tracks. Don't know about 8-tracks. I don't know they exist anymore, but it'll be available in all kind of configurations, and also there's some kind of technology things that we're doing too to enhance the way things are going to sound, which we're kind of excited about, that we'll talk about next year. And the Babyface record with us is available now, and you can stream it anywhere you stream your music. So.
Yeah, and it's in heavy rotation at beachcityradio.com. I want to play it. I'm just scared that Facebook, they be tripping. Try to block us. Let me see here. Let me see if I can play it as we go out here. It's just really so that folks can enjoy that music. But man, Facebook is, come on now. We gotta, I guess, and now as we're having this conversation, the new technology out there, as we grow in this whole thing, maybe it's time for us to get our own situation. Maybe we need to create our own Facebook Black Book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's good. Oh, you got it in the chat? Okay. Thank you, super producer. Where you at? I don't see him. Okay. Well, we go. Oh, there it is. Okay. It's called He Don't Know Nothing About It. And let's see if we could just play this now. Oh no, I need it on. I need it so I can punch the button there, super producer. Hold on. I want to play this before they go. Okay, so he don't know nothing about it right there. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Let me see if I can get that in. Our technology is lovely. Share audio. Chrome tab. I got it.
By the way, while you're setting that up, I just want to tell your listeners that Soul Train Awards are this Sunday. And you definitely want to check Babyface out on that. We got a chance to see it. You'll see us on there too. Not doing the song, but you'll see us on there. So it's kind of cool. So definitely some good soul food on Sunday for you. For people.
All right, this Sunday, there you go. That would be a good way to wrap up your holiday weekend. Check Jam and Lewis out with Babyface, Soul Train Awards. Ooh, they're still doing that. I love it. Mm-hmm. I love it. Yeah, that's something. It's so funny how you tell the younger generations coming up of the grandiosity of our industry back in the day. When I tell young people about, oh yeah, we used to go to Jack the Rapper and the Soul Train Awards, Lady of Soul and all that, they cannot believe it. It's like, oh no, we were tuxedos and ice sculptures and all. And we celebrated culture. All right, y'all. Here it is, Jam and Lewis with Babyface. So Jam and Lewis times Babyface. Yeah. He don't know nothing about it. Right here, Coffee Conversations with Greg J. Catherine's asking on BET, right? For Soul Train?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes,
here's the song, y'all. Thank you guys so much for coming through. We're going to play your song. And yeah, that's it. just God bless you all. And I thank the Lord for both of you guys. Just real cool, down to earth guys, and your creativity and your connection to your gift is just amazing. And just know that we love y'all. We love y'all. We love y'all. We love y'all. And keep doing what you do. And reach out to us over at Coffee Conversations anytime. Let's go. Let's get it.
All right.
And send me those chord progressions.
All right, great.
All right.
And we love y'all back.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Here it is, y'all.
Talking about all the things he gonna do to you when he get you home. Coming up short, making all the excuses where you're better off alone.
Is it playing?
Think he's fine, cause he drive a 600 that he don't even own. Talking like he's the guy he could buy any girl he won't. He don't know nothing about it. About time he found a man, yeah, he just be ain't around it. Girl, he don't understand what you go through. He ain't got a clue what love really means to you. He don't know nothing about it. He don't know nothing about it. Yeah. Talking about all the things he gon' buy for you. Can't even get alone. Running around town frontin' like he take good care of you. When everybody knows. Can a guy think he fly when he's still living at his mama's home? Say goodnight, ain't it time? Think it's only right that you let him go. He don't know nothing about it. About time I found yeah, man. He just be around it. Yes, the girl, he don't understand what you go through. He ain't got a clue what love really means to you. He don't know nothing about it. He don't know nothing about it. Yeah. You need a man to be strong, that will always be there whenever you need him. You should not to call him a man who will be right there when you fall. If you put your heart in his hands, then he needs to be your friend. Oh, baby, yeah. Oh, I need you. Reason but to love and to trust and to be your everything. Something that every woman needs. Oh yeah. Oh. He don't know nothing about babe. No, he said no. He don't know nothing about it. No, damn baby. No. He just be hanging around there. Yeah. Oh, baby, yeah, you see what you need. You need a man to be strong. Yes. Always, yes. Oh, baby. Whenever you need him. Oh, you should not call him. A man who will be right there. Be right there when you fall. Oh, and it says that it needs to be a friend. A friend who will listen. Yeah, you want of your needs. something that every woman needs. Get 'em off your mind, get 'em off your head, get 'em out your soul, get 'em out your bed. Don't know nothing about it. Oh, yes. Yes, sir. Look around, see what you got. Don't you know it ain't about see, he don't know nothing. He don't know nothing. Yeah, yeah. Ooh, he don't know nothing about it.
Yeah, well, the votes are in there, my brothers. That's it's a hit. Gotta get there. It is. Thank you all so much, y'all. Jam and Lewis, Coffee
Thank
Conversations with Greg J. Look, I think we're gonna just do a best of on tomorrow, just to get ourselves ready. But on Thanksgiving morning, our next guest is going to be Steve McKeever, the founder of Hidden Beach Records, and we want to get in there and talk about music and just connect some cultural trends, just like we've been doing here. Man, just thank you all so much for coming through Coffee Conversations with Greg J. You can tell a friend about it. Facebook at Coffee Conversations with Greg J. Like our page, you'll see all the videos are there, or on demand at Beach City Radio, beachcityradio.com. And lastly, don't forget to get that coffee, Kalimba Song Coffee Company, imported farmer direct from Cameroon, West Africa. We can get it to you just in time for your holiday season. Jam and Lewis, brothers, thank you so much for your time this morning. It's just really incredible that we've been able to get together today, and I'm just happy. You made my day.
Thanks for having me, brother.
All right.
Thanks for having us, Greg.
All right. Peace and blessings, everybody. Remember, love one another. Love one another. Love one another. Peace and blessings.